What's up, guys? Johnny B here with Worship Nugs podcast. We are continuing our quest, the Lord's work here at Experience Conference to find the next great leadership golden nugget, revelation, words of wisdom. No, I'm kidding. But we are talking to some incredible leaders and organizations, just hearing their stories and sharing in their wins, also hearing some of their challenges and tension points so that we can all grow together. I'm with my friend David from Sunday Sounds and Loop Community. What's up, man? How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm
Thanks
good.
for having me, Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Dub Nugs.
What's wild is, I haven't told the story yet today, but the initial thought for Worship Nuggets was every time we did an episode, we would eat chicken nuggets.
Oh, man.
And, which in theory sounds great, but can you imagine had I done 6 episodes today and eaten 6, 5-piece nuggets?
You need a bucket on the side you could spit after every take.
I would be in a coma right now, like a nug coma. But we might bring it. We'll see. We'll see where the Lord leads as we go. But our logo is a chicken, which is really great.
We can meet at the Chick for the next episode.
I love it.
Together.
I love it. Well, Loop Community, I'm sure if you're in the worship space, the church space, in the house of worship world, you know what Loop Community is. An incredible resource for teams. My guy David here works on the Sunday Sounds side. You helped, you created it, right? Kind of like Dexter's Laboratory. You went in and you said, this is what I need to do.
I founded Sunday Sounds 10 years ago after a couple of years in a row of the new keyboard I put in the budget getting taken out of the budget for the team I was leading. And eventually that turned into a company sort of by accident at first, and then eventually we created this software called Sunday Keys, which is just designed to be a solution for any church keys player. And then the last couple of years, we've had the opportunity to join up with Loop Community now as 2 different brands, part of the same company, so that we can offer simpler solutions, tighter integrations, and really meet the needs of the entire worship band on stage.
Yeah. No, I love that. I can remember, I'm a guitar player who sometimes plays keys. But I can,
Same, dude.
Yeah.
Confession time.
Yeah. But I remember when worship music started kind of getting a little more intricate, which is great. But like the sounds you were hearing on like a Hillsong or an Elevation, it wasn't just a normal. It wasn't the maybe the baby grand or upright piano you had at your church, right? They were using these sounds that were really specific to the song, and it was hard to replicate that or lead that song well without achieving those sounds. And so I love what you guys do. I mean, and I think any pastor or preacher out there would agree that when you're giving your altar call, you need a really just sweet ambient pad. It helps you preach better. It helps you lead people to Jesus better. And so that's kind of, I say that in a joking way, but really honestly, it's such a big part in the atmosphere that we create that helps lead people to Jesus. So I know it's a tech thing, it's a technology, but it really is such a tool in our worship experiences. So you mentioned you had a need, that there wasn't a budget. Maybe the Nord wasn't in the budget. The Lord wasn't in that Nord.
Oh, man. He would have been, but the budget just wasn't there.
So you developed this technology to help create these sounds, which is, so incredible. One of the things we've been talking about that kind of connects to what you guys do, we've been asking leaders like yourself, what do they see in the worship space that's winning? Some areas that maybe, this is where we're doing really well. Maybe Big C Church, how we're winning overall. Maybe some of the ways you're personally winning. And then maybe some of the tension points or the opportunities we have to grow, maybe to integrate technology like you guys have, opportunities for the church to grow in the worship space.
I love that question. I think the thing that I see the Big C Church doing that feels really special and cool to me right now is it's sort of this nostalgia or this following of trends that are grounded in something. They came from somewhere. I would say the idea is know where your trends came from or what came before them. And guitarists are doing this right now with all these really interesting new guitar tones that sound like old guitar tones but reimagined, as us keys players are trying to sound like 90s worship music again.
Yeah.
And there's all this new discussion about what's the best way to get those sounds now. People are singing songs that we haven't sung in 20 years, but they're singing it with a new voice that's sort of grounded in hey, we know that this has been sung before, but it's for right now too. And so I guess where I see the Big C Church doing things that feel really right to me right now, and I'll just speak to like the American church because that's
Yeah.
where I'm sort of grounded. It just feels like when you're doing something that's trendy because you like it, but you also understand where it came from, and it's not just I saw it seemed cool or viral or whatever, or some other church that I know did it. You have some understanding of the history, the context. And that can be nerdy stuff, like knowing where that guitar or keyboard sound came from. Or it could be like, doing some homework and getting familiar with the songwriters that you maybe aren't super up to date or fresh on, but that were writing songs of the church 20, 30, 40, even 100, 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So just having some grounding for the cool, hip, trendy things that you are doing, to me feels like a win.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel like
would agree.
People are paying more attention to where did this come from? What was it born out of? Even if it is super trendy. We see those trends rise and fall on Instagram and TikTok all of the time, but I think people are starting to pay more attention about not just, a cool dance or a cool musical idea.
Yeah.
What was that born from?
Yeah.
So then the counterpoint to where I see churches maybe struggling is when you have that same desire to do something cool, fresh, new, hip, or that you just find inspiring, but you don't necessarily take the time to really understand it or to fully wrap your head around it. And that's where I feel like you can end up with worship teams, for example, playing types of music or songs that don't really feel authentic to them. They haven't taken any real ownership of it.
Yeah.
And that could be stepping into different genres or into different time periods or just into different musical ideas or sounds. If you take some time to really sit with it, to sit under it, to get familiar with where it came from, what the roots are, then when you start to express that, it comes from that internal, like, okay, it's fed into me and now I can let that pour back out instead of just being like a mirror, right? I saw that it was cool. Oh, here's a bright light right in your face. But it's not focused. You haven't taken any time to understand when you should use it, how brightly that light should shine to mix those things in. So that's what's been on my mind and heart. I'm a guitarist and a keys player. I'm really nerdy about all the sound stuff. So I always want the new pedal or the new synthesizer and those things. And I see the church doing that too. And that's cool. We love that. At Loop and Sunday Sounds, we're trying to help people get those goals met, to sound like or to be like or to have the opportunity to play like. But when that's coming from some genuine interest and desire, I think it's just more real, and it's more likely you're going to deploy it properly with your congregation.
Yeah, no, I love that. You said a couple things there that I would love to unpack. Number one, just about the understanding the why behind what we're doing. I think one of the things that's really been special for me, and one of the things the Lord's really laid on my heart in this season, is giving the church back their language. We sing these songs, and sometimes we just assume people know why we're singing them, but we don't take the opportunity to maybe add a scripture behind why are we asking you to lift your hands? Why are we asking you to close your eyes? Why are we asking you to lift your voice? Like, what does the Bible say about that? How can we give the church back their language, and so the why behind what we're doing? But something too you said that I would love to get your thoughts on. I've noticed, so for a while the trend was like, you pull your top 40. You know, when you're creating a song bank for your church, maybe your 40 songs that you do. But I think one of the trends that I'm seeing is that we're reducing that even more. We're going. I saw something on Instagram the other day, and they said, "Listen, your church just wants to sing with you, so make it easy, make it approachable, palatable. So maybe instead of 40 songs, maybe you've got 25 or 30 songs in your song bank in your rotation to help create that language and that buy-in." Are you seeing any of that with like I know like I'll go to Loop Community and I'll check the charts, and it helps me with if I'm at a loss for a set list, and I'm like, what am I not thinking of? What am I not considering? Are you noticing in the trends with maybe the songs, the loops people are purchasing, a common, like, songs that are just, this song is just sticking around, like What a Beautiful Name is probably always in the top 20 or 25.
Sure.
Any thoughts, and can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always some obvious songs that are resonating with lots of different kinds of churches of different sizes and different backgrounds, and I think that's awesome. I do think people are being more intentional than maybe over the last couple of decades in the songs that they're choosing. Yeah. And part of that, I think, is just because there's so many incredible songs to choose from that you can afford to be precise and specific and find stuff that matches the language that your church needs to use. You talked about giving your church back their language. Well, what is your church going through? What seasons are you in? And I do think sometimes that looks like, okay, we're gonna focus in because we need to really meditate on and reflect back these topics. They need to be on our hearts, on our lips. This is what we want to be giving back to God in response to what God is doing in our congregation. So I do think sometimes that looks like those lists getting a little bit shorter. Then the other thing that I think I see happening, and I've seen you do this even on Instagram, is you'll have those go-to tunes that your congregation's really well versed in, and then you got the back pocket stuff. That chorus or that refrain, you might not know the whole song, but you can get right back into that chorus, and it just fits like a glove. You lay on it like a pillow. Everybody's like, oof, there we are.
That's it.
And then you might not do that song again for 6 months or a year or even 5 years, but you probably have those if you're a worship leader in your heart. And so for me, I've been having some fun going back and listening to records that I haven't listened to 5, 10, 15 years. And I'm probably not going to lead those anytime soon because I don't think the congregation would naturally just dive right back into, a song with 3 or 4 verses. We haven't. I'm not going to reintroduce every song that I like. Yeah. But some of those songs have refrains, choruses, moments that you can just have in your heart, ready to go, know where you're going to go musically. And then sometimes you need to lay down that pillow and give people a little break, a little deviation from the routine.
We're renaming this podcast the Worship Pillow. I love that thought, and it's so true. There's this quote that a good leader, I messed up the quote. Let me get it right. The quote goes like this: a good comedian always has a joke in in their pocket, and that a good leader should always have a thought in their pocket, like a leadership thought. I would go a step further and say that a good worship leader needs to have a good tag or chorus in their back pocket. Right. We actually intentionally at our church during our rehearsal space, we have a set aside time. These guys, they know they've been in our rehearsals where we will say, okay, hey, where could we go here? Yeah. Like, let's take the next 5 or 10 minutes. Where can we go here? What feels good? Boom, boom. Can we go here? How great does our God feel if we wanted to tag? Like this week we're doing at our church. This will come out much later. We'll post it by then. But we're gonna do that. Phil Wickham does the new version of Awesome. What an awesome God. Yeah. And so we're gonna do that chorus. Our God is an awesome God, and how great is our God. So I sent it to my MD on Monday. I said, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. It's what I'm thinking. I think it could be a really special moment. Let's plan for it. And so we'll get there on Sunday and we'll go through it, and then so we'll kind of have a plan. We'll have an outline, but in the moment we're going to let the Lord just kind of breathe and do what He wants to do. So I love that, man. I love
doing that that planning to be spontaneous. Yeah. Right. Or planning like we know we're going to go somewhere. Let's figure out where we could go. I think it's something that it doesn't take loads of time to actually figure out, but it takes an intentional interrupt for you as a worship leader or planner to say, okay, where are those moments where I need to think, not just about what are the 4 songs, what are the keys and the tempos, but what else could happen here? Where might we need to be, or where might we need to be ready to go? And it's, as you said, 5 to 10 minutes to just sort of map out some of those options. Yeah. And if your team is comfortable with that space, if they feel that space being created, then they're not going to have that deer in the headlights look when you do start hopping into that chorus spontaneously, because they know, hey, there's some potential here. We're creating an environment, a little bit of a palette, a little pillow.
Yes, a worship pillow.
Like this kind of pillow.
I love that. And there's all these memes on the internet about like the pro presenter tech, when the worship leader goes spontaneous and they're like, look, what song is he doing, And we have some moments like that. But a lot of times even being prepared prepares others. Like us being prepared on the stage prepares those in the booth, to pull up that song. Johnny may go there, the worship leader may go there, pull it up. But on that note, a couple more things. I would love to get your thoughts on this, because we're talking about the spontaneous and the spirit-led. I'm sure you maybe get this question often, being in the Loop world. Where have you found the ability to kind of connect some of those? Because I know for me, growing up in a very spirit-led church, when tracks and click became a thing, one of the hesitations was, well, what if we want to go somewhere different? And I know it works for us, but I would love to hear some of your insight on how you marry the loops and the clicks with the opportunity to still be free?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and we do get asked that all the time. I think it comes down to a matter of intentionality and balance. I really like to think of the way that you use tracks in a band in an ideal sense is thinking of them as a part or a member of your team almost. And so you want to have a consistent through line or relationship between your live players and your tracks as you go through your set lists, meaning you don't want one song to sound exceptionally full because it's got loads of tracks. And the next song, the bottom drops out because you don't have that same energy, or maybe the tracks are mixed differently or something like that. Or maybe just the tracks themselves aren't filling the same kind of space. So as you consider how you lay out your set list, I think it's important to think like, okay, if I had somebody on stage, would they be playing similar instruments throughout the set list?
That's
or is
great.
it going from crazy, intense percussion to just a shaker? Is that an okay transition? Or is that going to feel strange? Do I have a giant string quartet on song 1 and then no strings for the rest of the service?
Yeah.
I might love the strings, but maybe it would be more natural to bring those down a little bit in the mix, or maybe even to just perform without those specific string tracks, so that it feels like there's more of a through line.
Yeah.
So that's the first piece, I think, is just your relationship to tracks throughout your set list. And then I think that makes it a lot easier for you when you have those sort of exit ramp moments, or when you are going to go into something more free-flowing, to say, hey, this is what's no longer happening in the tracks. It's easy to keep a click going or to plan ahead and have a click to get you to wherever you need to be.
Yeah.
But then you can let those tracks rest, and the rest of your team, having a better understanding of what the tracks were doing to fill a certain amount of space, have an opportunity to step up.
No, that's great.
So a savvy piano player might fill some more space, or a bassist might play with a little bit of a heavier hand.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
That's great, and you eliminate that big drop off, like you were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And it feels more consistent. So that's great. I love that. I know for us, we get through the song, and we always have we know if it's song 3, which is right before the message, we know we're probably going to want to flow. So we'll have that click ready and that pad ready. So when it ends, we're just continuing on through. So I think that's really, really special, really powerful. Last thing I want to ask you, we'll have some fun. First off, what's your favorite sitcom of all time?
The Office.
The Office. Okay. We're going to have some fun. Okay.
All right.
This is on the spot, off the cuff. If the cast of The Office worked for a church,
Oh, boy.
Who's your lead pastor?
Who's the lead pastor? Probably Andy.
Wow. That's a hot take, dude.
He's got that big frantic energy, like go, go, go.
Yeah.
But a lot of pent up aggression.
Yeah. Pastor Andy. Okay. Who's your youth pastor?
Oh man, who's the youth pastor? Probably Ryan.
Okay. I can vibe that. We got lead pastor. We got youth pastor. Who's leading worship at this Office church?
It's got to be Jim, I guess. He thinks
Really?
he's so cool.
He's so
you
he
know?
does. Jim could be he's like the worship pastor who also has to serve in youth. Because he still
he's
looks
wearing
young.
A couple different
he
hats.
might not be
Right.
he dresses 20, but he might be 40. It's that haircut. We don't know how old he is, and that would make Pam a pastor's wife, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Pam, the pastor's wife. Does she feel God in every Chili's that she walks in?
Absolutely.
Probably. Okay.
Absolutely.
Lead pastor, youth pastor, worship pastor. We'll do one more. Who's your guest services at the Office Church of God Assemblies, First Baptist Methodist in Christ Church?
Yeah, that's got to be Angela, right?
Touche. Angela, awesome. I love it. Well, that's amazing. We're gonna have to talk about Pastor Andy. I don't know. I need to see his doctorate degree or his.
He went to Cornell.
He went to Cornell.
Yeah.
In real life?
No, in the show.
Oh, in the show.
Andy went to Cornell.
Is that a Bible college?
No.
I don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't either.
Is it affiliated with the Church of God?
Who would you pick to be the senior pastor?
I mean, I think Michael is the obvious choice, but maybe it's too obvious.
Maybe Kevin.
Maybe Kevin. But I've actually thought about this more than I should have thought about it.
I'm going to be thinking about it a lot now.
And so I thought maybe Pam could lead my women's ministry, and they do small groups in the Chili's.
Yeah, I feel that.
And so, and maybe every time they have small group, they just have this really powerful move of God in the Chili's. So I don't know. It's just a thought. But anyway, y'all let us know in the comments if The Office was a church, who's doing what and why. But David, thank you so much for hanging out, bro.
Thank you, man.
Y'all
It
hear
was
the
fun.
loadout here at Experience Conference. We're literally shutting the place down. There's a couple more things tonight. We're going to try to see if the cast of Chosen is here. They're not. But if we interview Jesus, we'll break the internet. But thank you for hanging out. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We're trying this closing line. I'm going to try it with you. I'm going to look at your face when I say it.
Eye contact.
And depending on how you respond is whether we keep this or not, okay? Here's our closing response. Stay saucy.
Yeah, you should keep that for sure.